There's a quiet thief that creeps into so many of our lives after 50. It doesn't steal our money or our possessions, but something far more precious. Our freedom of movement, our confidence in our own bodies, even our joy in the little moments. I'm talking about arthritis, the aching joints, the morning stiffness, the swelling that makes something as simple as opening a jar feel like climbing a mountain. But here's the truth most people don't hear often enough. Arthritis pain relief doesn't always have to come from a pill bottle. There are natural, safe, science-backed ways to ease that discomfort and even protect your joints for the years ahead. And that's what today is all about. I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Wellness Blueprint Over 50. Stay with me because the answers might surprise you and they might just change the way you move tomorrow. When I think of vitamin C, I picture something bright, refreshing, and full of life, like that first sip of fresh orange juice in the morning. For most people, vitamin C is the cold and flu vitamin, the thing we grab when we feel a sniffle coming on. But if you're over 50 and living with arthritis, vitamin C can be so much more than that. It can be the quiet shield that protects your joints, reduces inflammation, and keeps your body moving with strength and confidence. Let me tell you about one of my patients, Margaret. She's 68 years old, a retired teacher, and for years she felt like her knees were betraying her. Every step down the stairs sent a jolt of pain through her legs, and gardening, the hobby she loved, felt like it was slipping away from her. When we sat down to review her diet, I noticed something. Margaret rarely ate fresh fruits or vegetables. Meals were quick and convenient, but not rich in antioxidants. Her body was crying out for protection, and she didn't even realize it. See, vitamin C is essential for the production of collagen, which you can think of as the scaffolding that keeps your joints sturdy. Imagine a suspension bridge, thick cables holding everything steady and preventing collapse. Without enough collagen, that bridge weakens. The cables fray. Eventually, the road isn't safe to travel. In your body, collagen does the same job for cartilage, tendons, and ligaments. When you don't have enough, the bridge of your joints starts to break down, and arthritis symptoms become louder. But here's where vitamin C works its magic. Not only does it help build that collagen, it also protects it. Every day, your body is under attack from free radicals, unstable molecules that act like little sparks flying off a fire. When too many sparks hit the wood, the fire spreads. In your joints, those sparks damage cartilage and trigger inflammation. Vitamin C steps in like a skilled firefighter, neutralizing those sparks before they cause harm. And that means less swelling, less stiffness, and less pain. There's real science behind this. A large study published in Arthritis and Rheumatism found that people with higher vitamin C intake had a significantly lower risk of developing severe arthritis. The study wasn't talking about megadoses or fancy supplements, but simply getting enough vitamin C consistently through food. That's empowering, isn't it? Something as simple as what you put on your plate could change how you walk, bend, or climb stairs. So what does this look like in daily life? Let's go back to Margaret. We didn't overhaul her diet overnight. Instead, she started small, an orange with breakfast, some strawberries sprinkled into her yogurt, and later discovering that bell peppers actually contain more vitamin C than oranges. She loved their crunch and started slicing them into salads. Within a few months, she noticed something remarkable. The stiffness that used to greet her every morning was less intense. Her walks with her husband felt easier. Gardening no longer felt like punishment. Was it a cure? No. But it was relief, steady and real, and it gave her back a piece of her independence. If you're wondering how to do the same, nature has already given us a menu. Citrus fruits, of course, but also kiwi, tiny green jewels packed with vitamin C. Broccoli, which may not be everyone's favorite, becomes much easier to love when you remember what it does for your joints. And strawberries, sweet, vibrant, and perfect for blending into a smoothie, deliver both flavor and function. The beauty of vitamin C is that it's accessible. You don't have to chase down exotic powders or expensive pills unless your doctor recommends it. A colorful plate often holds everything you need. And yet, there's an important reminder here. Consistency matters more than intensity. Taking a supplement for a week won't rebuild years of collagen loss. But weaving vitamin C-rich foods into your life daily is like watering a garden. The flowers don't bloom overnight, but in time you'll see strength, resilience, and beauty return. For some, supplements do have a place, especially if appetite is poor or fresh produce isn't always available. But always check with your physician before starting, because even something as simple as vitamin C can interact with medications or affect kidney health if overused. As I sit with patients who are searching for arthritis pain relief, I often remind them of this. Your body is not your enemy. It wants to heal. It wants to move. Sometimes all it needs are the right building blocks. And vitamin C is one of the most powerful yet underestimated of them all. Margaret still comes to see me every few months, and every time she brings me updates from her garden. "Doctor," she'll say with a grin, "my knees still remind me I'm not 20 anymore, but at least I can keep up with the weeds now." That's the kind of victory vitamin C can bring. Quiet, steady, and life-giving. If vitamin C is the bright shield protecting your joints, vitamin E is the quiet warrior standing guard inside the very walls of your cells. It doesn't always get the same spotlight as vitamin C, but for anyone over 50 dealing with arthritis or chronic joint pain, vitamin E deserves our full attention. It has this remarkable ability to slip into the fatty layers of your cells, almost like oil seeping into wood, and protect them from the wear and tear of time, inflammation, and stress. Let me tell you about Arthur, a 72-year-old former carpenter. Years of kneeling, lifting, and working with heavy tools left his joints worn and inflamed. By the time he came to see me, he could barely close his hands in the morning. Simple things, buttoning a shirt, holding a coffee cup, felt impossible. He told me, "Doc, I feel like I'm being robbed of the small things." That's when we started looking at his nutrition, and vitamin E became a crucial part of his story. Vitamin E is what we call a fat-soluble antioxidant. Think of your cell membranes like soft leather. They keep everything inside protected, but over time, free radicals, those same destructive sparks I described earlier, start hitting the leather, drying it out, cracking it, weakening its ability to protect. Vitamin E is like a conditioner for that leather, soaking into the material and neutralizing the sparks before they can do any real harm. For someone with arthritis, where inflammation is constantly attacking the tissues of the joints, this protection is invaluable. Science backs this up. A clinical trial published in the Journal of Rheumatology showed that vitamin E supplementation reduced pain in people with osteoarthritis, sometimes as effectively as non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, but without the stomach irritation those medications can cause. The reason is simple. Vitamin E doesn't just reduce the damage of free radicals, it also dampens the fire of inflammation itself. Imagine having a noisy neighbor who keeps banging on your walls. Vitamin E is like the friend who comes over and helps quiet things down so you can rest in peace. Arthur started small. We didn't rush to supplements right away. Instead, I asked him about what he enjoyed eating. It turned out he loved snacking on almonds but hadn't eaten them regularly in years. We reintroduced them into his diet, just a small handful each day. We added sunflower seeds to his morning cereal, and he began drizzling olive oil over his vegetables instead of using butter. Within a few weeks, his body was getting the consistent dose of vitamin E it needed. Now, did his pain vanish overnight? No. Healing rarely works that way. But gradually, he noticed his morning stiffness wasn't as severe. He could close his hands more easily, grip his tools again, even if only for small projects in his workshop. And one day he told me, "Doc, I fixed my granddaughter's toy chest. My fingers ached, but I did it. And it felt good." That's the power of giving your body the nutrients it needs. It restores not just movement, but dignity and joy. One of the wonderful things about vitamin E is how many delicious foods provide it. Nuts like almonds and hazelnuts, seeds like sunflower, and even avocados, creamy, rich, and versatile, are fantastic sources. Leafy greens like spinach deliver vitamin E along with other joint-friendly nutrients. And then there's olive oil, that golden liquid at the heart of the Mediterranean diet, known for its anti-inflammatory benefits. Adding these foods isn't about restriction or punishment, it's about enrichment, giving yourself more options that love your body back. But there's also a word of caution here. Vitamin E, unlike vitamin C, is stored in the body because it's fat-soluble. That means too much can be harmful, especially in supplement form. Excessive amounts can thin the blood and increase bleeding risk. That's why I always encourage starting with food first. Supplements have a place, but only when guided by your doctor. Balance, as in so many parts of life, is the secret. What amazes me is how vitamin E works hand in hand with vitamin C. You might say they're teammates on the same defense squad. Vitamin C helps recharge vitamin E once it's been used, almost like a battery getting topped up. Together, they form a powerful shield, reducing inflammation, protecting cartilage, and making everyday movements feel a little lighter, a little freer. Arthur still deals with arthritis. There's no miracle cure. But when I see him in clinic now, he shakes my hand firmly. His eyes don't carry the same shadow of defeat they once did. He knows the warrior inside his cells is still fighting, still protecting, still helping him live on his terms. That's the gift vitamin E offers. Not a dramatic overnight change, but a steady, quiet relief, an ally working deep within, giving you back pieces of your life you thought were gone forever. Sometimes the most powerful medicines don't come in bottles lined up on pharmacy shelves. They come from the earth, from roots that have been used for centuries, passed down through traditions long before modern science ever caught up. Curcumin, the bright yellow compound inside turmeric, is one of those treasures. If vitamin C is the shield and vitamin E the quiet warrior, curcumin is the wise elder, an ancient healer that still has lessons for us today. Let me share the story of Evelyn, a 65-year-old grandmother who had lived with rheumatoid arthritis for over 2 decades. She told me her mornings felt like walking into a battlefield. Every joint stiff, her hands curled tight, her ankles swollen. She had tried medications, some of which helped but came with side effects that left her exhausted. She was looking for something natural, something she could integrate into her daily life without fear. That's when we discussed turmeric. Curcumin has been a cornerstone of Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine for thousands of years, prized for its ability to calm inflammation. But today, we also have hard science to back up what tradition already knew. A review published in the journal Phytotherapy Research found that curcumin was as effective as some non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs in reducing arthritis pain and improving joint function without the same risks of ulcers or liver damage. That's extraordinary when you think about it. A simple root spice rivaling the power of modern pharmaceuticals. The way curcumin works is fascinating. Inflammation in arthritis is driven by pathways in the body that act like alarm bells. One of the loudest of these bells is called NF-κB, a protein that signals the body to produce more and more inflammatory chemicals. Curcumin is like the wise elder who steps into the room, gently lowers the volume of the alarm, and reminds the body to calm down. At the same time, its antioxidant power mops up free radicals that would otherwise chew away at cartilage and connective tissue. So curcumin not only eases today's pain, but also helps protect tomorrow's joints from further breakdown. Of course, there's a catch. Curcumin on its own doesn't absorb well into the bloodstream. It's a bit like a locked treasure chest. You can have all the gold inside, but if you can't open the lock, you can't use it. The key to unlocking curcumin is black pepper. Black pepper contains a compound called piperine, which can increase curcumin absorption by up to 2,000%. That's why, if you're adding turmeric to your meals, pairing it with a pinch of black pepper is essential. For Evelyn, we started with simple recipes. She stirred turmeric and black pepper into soups, sprinkled it over roasted vegetables, and even tried making golden milk, a warm drink with turmeric, black pepper, milk, and honey. She enjoyed the ritual of it, almost like tea, and soon it became a soothing part of her evenings. Over the months, she noticed her morning stiffness ease. Her hands felt less swollen, and she regained the simple joy of cooking meals for her grandchildren without wincing at every chop and stir. Some people prefer supplements for a stronger, more concentrated effect, and that's a valid choice. If you go that route, the key is to look for supplements that include piperine or are formulated for high absorption. But as always, it's important to talk to your doctor first, especially if you're already taking blood thinners or other medications. Natural doesn't mean risk-free, and personalized guidance ensures safety. What moves me most about curcumin is not just the science, but the hope it brings. I've seen patients who felt trapped by their arthritis pain discover that a simple root could give them back a sense of control. And when people feel in control again, when they know there are things they can do daily to fight inflammation and protect their joints, their whole outlook changes. They carry themselves with more confidence. They rejoin walks with friends. They bend down to hug their grandchildren without fear. Evelyn told me once, "Doctor, turmeric didn't make me 20 again, but it made me feel like myself again." And that, to me, is the true power of these natural antioxidants. They don't erase the years or erase the reality of arthritis, but they restore something even more precious: your ability to keep living with dignity, independence, and joy. So when you see that bright yellow spice sitting quietly in your kitchen cabinet, remember, it's more than flavor. It's a bridge between ancient wisdom and modern science, a humble root with the power to soothe, protect, and remind you that healing often begins with the simplest gifts from nature. We've walked through the stories of three remarkable antioxidants: vitamin C, vitamin E, and curcumin, and how each one can become a steady ally in the fight against arthritis pain and inflammation. These aren't exotic or unreachable remedies. They're everyday gifts from food and nature, waiting to be woven into your life. Remember, it's the small, consistent steps: an orange in the morning, a drizzle of olive oil at dinner, a golden cup of turmeric tea, that build real change over time. You are not powerless. Your body can still heal, still strengthen, still surprise you. Keep going. Your best days are ahead,